What's up, guys? We're here at AMC Town Square with Chasing Cinema,
Mr. James Hsu.com,
and it is not Christmas.
No, the hell with Christmas, as I said last week. It is Star Wars
Episode 8, The Last Jedi. I'm so pumped.
We've been waiting for this movie all year. Since Force Awakens, we've been waiting for it. So we waited
2 years, player.
Yeah, we waited longer than that. Me and you.
Now we gotta do another 2 for Episode 9?
Yeah, 2 years ago we're standing over there talking about theories and possibilities, and I don't think we've gone very far with this one. Obviously, if you're watching this review, we'll talk about it, not spoilerish, and then we'll get into spoilers, and that'll be really probably thick and heavy. But, sir, Episode 8, thoughts?
Man, bro, I loved 7, loved Rogue One. I love this movie. I think this is better than Force Awakens. I really, really enjoy it. In fact, the first time I watched this, the way I felt, I was like, oh, that was good. This second viewing we just got out of, now I'm just like focused and not. And it didn't really help me because I don't know why, but it just really like I love this movie. Yeah. It was so good. There's so many elements. The score, John Williams.
Yeah, absolutely.
Killed it again. That's what he does.
No doubt.
It's like he
dropped the saber.
Yeah, like yes. yeah. So that was amazing. The story,
yes,
loved it. And I want to go into spoilers with you later, but
yeah,
the story of this one. No, I think the only complaint I have, because I'm giving this a 9 out of 10, I think.
Okay.
You know, I think the only thing I have is somewhere in the middle, you might have been able to take out 10 minutes, maybe. I don't even know. Maybe. I don't know.
I think there's a fair statement, and if you want to be tighter, you need to be cut. And it appears from most things that I've heard, it's Finn's storyline that people have an issue with.
And I liked his.
And to be honest, I was just talking to some friends that I think there's a scene where most people think it could be cut, but I find it to be like essential for his arc in this movie. And I think it's really subtle though. It's not like as in your face as you know we have you know, Rey and her training. It's not as like Kylo's search, you know, to finally meet Snoke standards and all these other things that are going on as soon as we get started. But I think there is an arc there, and there's something about his character that's really subtle but super important. Go on.
Domhnall Gleeson.
Yeah, Domhnall Gleeson.
That guy.
I don't think I've seen a movie in which I did not like Domhnall Gleeson in.
I can't even think of one other movie he's
Revenant.
in. Oh yes.
Ex Machina.
Oh, in Revenant he was the horrible one.
Yeah.
Right? Oh yeah. Ex. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now you're.
Goodbye, Christopher Robin.
Now you're helping me again. Yes.
Yeah.
But in this one though, God, I loved it. Even in the beginning, the humor.
Yeah.
You know, they want to make sure that we know that that's gonna exist, and that is gonna be apparent in this movie, and just the way that he is and the way the Snoke came out. Oh yeah, maybe that was a disappointment too.
Okay.
You know, maybe I wanted more out of Snoke.
Okay.
You know, because I always thought him as a supreme leader, the guy that's just like this BA, this ultimate bad dude. And then I felt that wasn't strong.
Okay.
You know, but yeah, I guess those are the only two things. Is maybe it could have been tightened up a little bit, maybe. And then, but this second viewing that I just did, I felt that. I didn't feel it was long, so maybe I'm lying to you, dude.
No,
maybe it wasn't even long because this
here's
second viewing.
I agree. I think, like I said though, is from what I heard, the most complaint that I heard is that the first 30 so minutes are slow, but I don't find it to be that way at all.
So overall, honestly, I don't even know if the time is a big deal because this second viewing, it went so fast. It didn't even feel like 2 hours and 40 whatever minutes this is. So I think maybe the only thing I can complain about is I personally just wanted more out of Snoke. That might have been just because of me, but I just wanted him to go a little more crazier than what we got out of him during the scenes where he was with Rey.
Yeah.
I wanted more out of that, but overall, man. Oh, you know what else disappointment is? Phasma. Man, you know, because the first one, the biggest complaint was you don't do that with Gwendolyn Christie.
Yeah.
And plus you don't do that with someone who has a freaking chrome. Stormtrooper, yeah. Like you don't do that. So I thought this one it would be like a redemption, and for me, I felt it was like she finally shows up, and then it's literally over. It's just like, come on, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm nitpicking at this point.
Yeah. No, I think like I was saying, I think the most common criticism I heard is that first hour or so is rough, and I didn't get that at all. And I found
the opening scene.
The more I thought, exactly, the opening scene is so intense, and so strongly enough that it's about someone that we don't even know. You know, obviously we have our characters that we do know, but the scene kind of revolves around this one person, the stranger, and it is so intense. But then the rest of the, I mean, like, there are so many incredibly intense emotional scenes in this movie, and there are so many moments where audiences will either cry of enjoyment or sadness. There's so much emotion here that I think we need an hour of just kind of breathing room. And even so, I mean, we're talking what happens in that hour are all really important things. I don't know what, I mean, like, obviously we start where Force Awakens ends off. You have Rey and Luke Skywalker interacting, and granted, they're not throwing lightsabers everywhere, but I don't know what more Star Wars fans or people in general could want. There's this relationship developing of these two characters who obviously need to have this really incredible chemistry, and you can't just have that something and have them go fighting. You need to develop, and we need to see, it's been how long since we've seen Luke Skywalker. We need to understand where his mindset is and who he is now. And all of these things are really important in creating this plot. And I still, looking at this movie in my second viewing, could not find a scene where I was like, I think it's completely useless. There are scenes where I said, okay, maybe we could lose it. I don't know if it's the most important, but I mean, if you leave that movie as is, I'm 100% fine with it. I really love this movie. It'll, of course, be in my top 10. It is my favorite Star Wars movie as of late, including Force Awakens and Rogue One. And I think this movie captures the essence of what Star Wars is, and it really just kind of holds the heart of what fans want and just what any movie is. I mean, it sends you on this range of emotions. It gives you all these really characters that are complex and have these, you know, all these different arcs going on. There's so much to enjoy. It's great visuals, great score, like you said. I got everything I wanted out of a movie in this. And as a fan, I got everything I wanted out of this movie. So I have no complaints, really. If I get down and really nitpicking, I can. But even then, I don't think my nitpicking is very strong or very apparent. I still pretty much enjoyed everything that was going on. I think Daisy Ridley, is obviously really kind of coming to her own in this movie and really proving that she is going to be,
that woman is so attractive.
Yes, and she's going to be the face of Star Wars and going to be, you know, the hero of you know, the sci-fi fans for generations to come. And
she seems like a genuinely nice person.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac, I think, is still very solid.
Oh, Dameron.
Yep. Finn as well. John Boyega, I think, is also very good.
Love him.
We have the addition of a new character named Rose, who I really enjoyed, and I thought she brings another element to the group that is forming here. But I still believe that the show stealer is Kylo Ren, is Adam Driver. I think that while some people complained in Force Awakens that he was too whiny or just too, like, kiddish to be this very dark Lord, I think it really gives you these. Everything in his performance is so complex, and it's so hard to translate what he's trying to say with his expressions, and I think that's exactly what we need for that character, because we're always kind of guessing what he's thinking or what he's planning, and I think a character like that or a performance like that is really necessary. Mark Hamill, I mean, has so many intense moments and so many great pieces of dialogue in this movie that are so heavy, and, you know, like, pretty much 80% of everything that Luke says can be played on, like, a trailer, and, like, he has, like, those really, like, heart-stopping lines. But I mean, he has this really great ability too when he's talking about something so passionate. His eyes get kind of watery. There's a gleam in his eye, and it immediately connects with you. And of course, we have Princess Leia, which. Again, like, this whole movie has so much emotion, but seeing Princess Leia, seeing Carrie Fisher alone will make any fan or movie lover kind of emotional, and I think they present her in a great way, and also like her character, and You know, I think while they brand this movie as it's going to be Rey training under the hand of Luke Skywalker, there is someone else being trained under another Skywalker in this movie. It's not so much in your face, but there's someone else being trained to be the best they could be, and I just really appreciated this really kind of, I know we said it in the last movie, but this really passing of the torch. Not so much in the movie of like Hollywood, these actors are passing the torch to the new Star Wars actors, but like literally these characters are passing the torch to the people who are going to be in control of fighting the war now. Yeah, I really loved everything about this movie. I think it just touched all those rights. It was just a perfect harmony. It's so rare that you get everything working together so well. I mean...
you know who works incredibly well? Not even an actor, BB-8.
BB-8.
Every time, dude, that the opening scene,
yeah,
and then the other scene where it's just, it's so good.
No, all of his moments are so really good. Strong. If you've seen some trailers or even some commercials, you know, BB-8 has a counterpart, which is also works really, really well.
Yeah, but BB-9 wasn't evil like I thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
Like, they were saying that this is the evil droid, and I didn't really...
feel that way?
Yeah, I didn't.
Not yet, maybe. Maybe it'll be a showdown.
Which will be cool. Yeah, BB-9's pretty cool, though.
I couldn't... Benicio del Toro, who has an appearance in this movie, is really good, which is no surprise because Del Toro is usually quite good, but his character being in a movie like Star Wars, I didn't feel like he stood out. I knew it was Benicio del Toro, but I believed his character. I was interested in what his character was about, where Laura Dern, on the other hand, who's also in this movie, kind of stood out at the beginning. She seemed like she was going to be more like
I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah, she felt like she belonged more in a Hunger Games at first. Like, she, to me, pulled me out of the movie just a bit because it was like, oh, there's Laura Dern. Where Benicio del Toro, I immediately believed that he was this character. Where Laura Dern felt like Laura Dern, but in probably the next scene, you're invested and she takes you on a journey in itself. Every character had this motive and something to do, and they all have these goals, and everything really works out in ways you don't expect. And Luke says it in the trailer, he says it in the movie, this is not going to work out how you expect it to, and that is so true, because everything you're expecting, this movie throws you a curveball that I don't think people see coming. I loved it.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Spoilers?
Let's do it. If I forgot anything, you know, of course, you know, you could ask questions in the comment sections, but go see the movie yourself, and then we can talk about spoilers, because I'm sure there's a ton of things that I'm missing or I'm forgetting about that I want to talk about, but, you know. So spoilers starting now.
Yes. I Laura Dern scene.
Yes.
She's like, I have to take it down for the team. Boof! Blew up the destroyer, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, obviously a character that they're really trying to push your suspicion on, and you're questioning her loyalty.
Oh, she's loyal as hell.
And yeah, she ends up being one of the most loyal people in the world.
You can't get any more loyal than
and doing one of the and using one of the most common Star Wars tropes. Lightspeed, and then using it in such a cool fashion. You know, and I love the fact that part goes complete quiet.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I love how Rian Johnson did that.
Yeah, and you just kind of you just get to soak all the images in. In the moment you see it, you don't need to hear an explosion. You don't need to hear this big catastrophe. You just know, and you know it was quite cool. Okay.
Rey's parentage was answered.
Yes, Rey's parentage was answered. There were some here that thought that it wasn't true. I hope that it's true and it kind of remains that way, because I think now as we go along, you're not going to have that, whatever the reveal is, it's not going to live up to the hype now of 3 movies in. But I appreciate the fact that, I said that in Force Awakens when we were talking about that and theorizing that, like, is she a Skywalker? Where is she from? I appreciate the fact that she has come from nothing and she's going to possibly save and then frontier the Jedi religion, as it's called in this movie, or the Jedi heritage, if you will.
I like the ending where the little boy is able to take the broom. Yes. And he's a Jedi.
And we're getting hope that there's hope out there.
Yeah, and it was just basically like the way I just felt. It was like, oh, it's just never ending, you know. Yes. No matter, like all things, you know, it's always gonna pop up. There's gonna be kids that have the Force and are able to do their thing, and then I'm assuming now we're gonna have our teachers, Rey,
yeah,
do her thing,
take her thing on. Let's see, where else are we going with this? Where else do you want to hit?
I was surprised. I was genuinely surprised, in a good way, I guess, that Carrie Fisher, they could have took her out 2 times.
2 times.
The first time they could have took her out was when they blasted out the freaking thing. I thought that's how they were going to take her out.
Yes.
And I was just like, oh, okay, that's honorable. It's in battle, and she was taking it down for the team. Then now the team has to come back because it's for Princess Leia.
Yeah.
Then the second time, instead of just Laura Dern
Dern
committing it, should have been
which I thought they even like write that way. You know, I think the character says, I can't take losing any people anymore, which I was like,
yeah,
when
so
I first read it, was like,
I have to do it.
I don't want to do it no more, so I'm going to stop. But obviously that's not the case. Laura Dern takes the shot. And, you know, again, I get it. You don't want to kill her off. And obviously now we're at the point where Leia's the last of the three.
Of the original.
So, I mean, I guess it only makes sense to kind of keep her alive.
A lot of the peeps here were saying that they'll probably just open episode 9 with the send-off. Yeah,
maybe her sending off. I mean, there's definitely ways to do things. I don't know. You know, we've been talking about it, I think, since she passed away, what they could possibly do, if it's going to be transmitted kind of like how she was originally, or how we see her at the very end of Rogue One, or if we see her in this movie, we have a flashback to the original, like, Leia moment where she has the transmitting that they show Luke and A New Hope. So even if it's that way, you know, or if not, I don't know. But I think that keeping her alive is probably the right thing to do.
Snoke, I wanted more out of that scene where, you know, because he got to play around a little bit. It's like how Rey was being so aggressive, and he basically was like, "Oh, that's cute of you."
Yeah.
You know, all he had to do was just little things. So I wanted more power out of him. But the way that Kylo Ren took him out, that was awesome.
Yeah,
there was nothing I didn't like about that. I just wish there was more out of Snoke because, you know, he's been building up for the past 2 years.
Yeah, they've been building him up, but I appreciated the fact that it didn't just happen, right? Where we're told moments before.
I see him making his decision.
No, well, like, not even that, but before that, Rey tells him what his downfall is going to be. His ignorance in assuming that Kylo is one way. She goes, you're underestimating everyone that has his power. And I think right then and there, that tells me where Snoke's weakness is and why he could be killed off. If that line isn't in there, for some people it might just be a throwaway. For me, that tells me everything I need to know and why he should die, or why he could be killed because he has a weakness. Rey has already found that weakness. Kylo has also seen that weakness, obviously being inspired by Rey. So that she exploits that, and I think that makes perfect sense to me. I get the idea that, like, he is supposed to be this all-time evil bad guy and we want to see what he could do, but I also appreciate the fact that he ends up not being that way, so Kylo could really step in and we could really see what Kylo, because I still feel we've yet to see what Kylo has to offer. I noticed watching these battle sequences in particular, you know, no one seems to fight very gracefully. Right? Did you notice that?
Yes, I was gonna say too. I enjoyed how it wasn't choreographed like a Phantom Menace.
Yes.
It's Phantom Menace was like 2 ballet dancers.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Doing their swan dance.
It's beautiful.
Which is great,
yeah.
Especially when it's lightsabers.
Yes.
This one, it's very sloppy. May not be the right word, but you could tell.
I think it is.
They were told, okay, you duck.
Yeah.
They're gonna swing, but they didn't choreograph a ballet.
Yeah, not like that. So it shows us that they're still learning. It shows that there's still this development.
Yeah, I like that.
Also, we kind of get the idea that Kylo and Rey are sometimes fighting out of anger, which obviously is never the best way to fight, as we've learned in Star Wars.
When Rey threw the
oh my
lightsaber,
god,
zoom!
I mean, that scene in particular. That scene alone, though it's chopped up, and I mean, this time around, I was just like anticipating that moment, and I didn't realize how chopped up it was with parallel action. But yeah, the moment when Rey and Kylo fall back to back and are just looking at these, I don't know the name, Imperial. I don't know, knights. I'm going to say something wrong, but these knight
sorry,
yeah, these knight these like
you idiots,
which look gorgeous, and then you have this gorgeous backdrop of the red,
designed by Christian Louboutin of all people.
I mean, just that whole scene to me just gets me so jacked as a fan, but I think it's so beautiful and so important because there is this really, and that's another thing that we explore in this movie is the connection between Rey and Kylo, and of course some theorists are already saying, well, that must mean that they are related somehow. and you know, Rey's parents can't just be garbage people who are already dead.
I honestly believe that's all it is.
I believe so too.
That's
and I
all
think
it
to
is.
me that makes her that much more special. Another Skywalker, another member of the family. It's just like, okay, so it's all about this one family. I appreciate the idea that she doesn't have those answers, and now that's another obstacle she has to face going forward. You know, obviously this is the empire of this trilogy. And while our characters have some really good triumphs, they are really in the loss at the end. I mean, I don't know if they say a number, but there can't be more than 30 of them, if that, having to rebuild. And you know, obviously with the loss of Luke Skywalker, I got scared for a second. I forgot we were doing spoilers. I thought I spoiled it, but they are at this point now where they've lost 2 of the legends, and they have to kind of really figure out what's going to happen. I am also curious about what Domhnall Gleeson's going to be doing in the upcoming, because they keep...
You know, in episode 9, that guy is going to just try to take him down.
It's really... I mean,
he will fail.
Yeah, he's going to... Yeah, he probably will fail. But there's definitely going to be a moment where he gets back at Kylo, or at least tries to. Maybe he'll sell him out, I don't know. Or maybe not, because that's the one thing I've appreciated with... You know, on a whole, so many people went in this movie with so many theories about whose Rey parents were. Rey's going to turn, Kylo's going to turn, Luke's going to, you know, all these theories. And this movie pretty much allows you to have a moment where you believe your theory is correct, and then snatches it right out of your hand. Yeah. And they do it multiple times
throughout this film.
Yeah, and I love that, because it just kind of, it gives everyone their moment, and then they go, okay, good, it's not that, because because then it's surprising, right? And we're not writing the story as we go along. We're learning things fresh, and again, there was not a thing about that I would change.
You know what's interesting too is when I was watching Wonder Woman for the first time, I was like, oh wow, we don't get the first actual action sequence on the war part for like 50 minutes or something. And so the first time I watched this movie, and then the second time I watched this movie, Last Jedi, the second time I watched it, I liked it more because I was like, oh, this part's all about. Oh, and I noticed I kept on saying that like literally every like 20, 30 minutes.
I felt like there was always something to look forward to.
This scene, the BB-8 scene, the Kylo Ren scene.
Yeah. So maybe not as intriguing, but I want to address the Finn and casino scene. First of all, some people were complaining about Rose and Finn's relationship. I found that to be a really great way for, you know, another character to have this arc and this motive. But a lot of people complained about this casino scene. Did you have a problem with it, or did you think...
hey, animal cruelty. It's a bad thing.
Well, yeah, but...
the pork scene, the cooking goes... Oh, my God.
So watching that scene the second time around, I really kind of... I had this theory that this whole movie... at least from Finn's perspective, is Finn's redemption, right? In Force Awakens, he's kind of put in this situation unintentionally, not trying to right his wrongs, but just trying to get out of these places. And he falls in this particular order, becomes this hero, and he wakes up in this movie like, oh, okay, I guess I'm that hero, and we have Rose being like, oh, you're the hero. And he has to take on that responsibility now. But to me, the importance of the animals in that scene, in the casino scene, is everyone forgets that, I guess, well, at least talking to people tonight, people must have forgot that Finn was also a child given away to this system and brought up like a slave. And in the moment where Rose is looking at these kids down below, remembering the fact that she was sold and her hardships growing up, it really ignites this thing where Finn wants to avenge what he's done and really kind of stop the people who've treated him that way. You know, Rose's way of doing that is releasing these animals and helping these kids and giving them some hope. Finn's way is almost literally risking his life to stop the thing that created him, the machine that treated him so poorly. And I think without that casino scene, you don't have that depth to Finn's journey. And while I think it's far more subtle than any other storyline, and maybe that's just me overreading into it, but I mean, Finn goes from the character who's just trying to help Rey and get out of there to almost risking his life and sacrificing himself, getting himself in that gun. So I think that there is really motivation there. And then of course, with Phantasma, you have her say, "You're always going to be scum." Of course, Finn is trying to rise above that and prove that he's not, and he always answers, "I'm rebel scum," and then he wants to prove it at the very end. So I think those are all really essential to him. And then you get Benicio del Toro, who's a joy.
He'll still. You think he'll be in episode 9?
Or
his is just more of he was there and now he's.
I don't know, but I would think with people's responses I've heard so far, they're going to want him back. But it all depends, you know. I mean, I would hope to see him back. I think he brought a really interesting dynamic. It's funny because it was like Benicio del Toro and Kylo Ren both kind of come out of the woodwork to talk about this idea where there should be sides, right? Benicio del Toro is more arguing the fact that in war, these people are profiting. The only two losers are the two sides battling, and you know the best way to win the war is not be in it. And then you have Kylo Ren, who is interesting because the whole second half of the movie is like, let's kill the rest of these groupies, but that's not his intention at all, because as he's holding his hand out to Rey, he's like, let's just finish it. Let's put the past behind us. Let's start anew. Get rid of the Jedis, get rid of the Siths, get rid of the rebellion, get rid of, you know, and to me...
He's like, this is all old.
Yeah, and to me, I'm so excited to explore that aspect. Of course, when Domhnall Gleeson discovers him, he can't just say, oh, I'm done with this now. He has to continue taking that role, and of course there is some personal investment in you know with his mother and everything like that to follow up. But I don't think like Kylo wants to be the supreme leader in this situation, and I'm really curious to see where he goes from here. I don't know if a turn will still happen. I think he of course needs to still... I don't know if killing Snoke avenges his father's death. I think that's still going to be... You know, obviously that's toyed with the idea too. A lot of people believe that Han pulled the trigger, so to speak, in Force Awakens and you know, ignited the saber.
I think they kind of killed that in this one.
Really?
That theory, yeah, because he said when he was talking to Snoke.
He did, but then when he's talking to Rey, she goes, "Why'd you kill him?" He goes, "No." She goes, "Why'd you do that to your father?" And he goes, "Ask me." Ask me, and he wants her to actually ask him. And Kylo being this really complex character, I think there's more to that. And I think, but you know, obviously having theories is really bad because they're gonna take all those theories and tease me, and then they're gonna laugh in my face. But I appreciate that. But I do think there's another thing to explore there too.
That's another thing I feel too about this is they were saying in Force Awakens, they were like, yeah, we never thought much of Rey's parents.
Yeah,
and it's just all the fanism.
And there is that part.
And I really think that her parents, yeah, it's what they said.
Yeah.
It's nobody's. Did he do it? Yes, that's...
No, and, like, that's it.
I don't know.
Of course.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I think that's what's really great about these movies is that it's so rare that you could actually hop out of a movie. I mean, today I was watching the news and they were interviewing kids like at all these premieres and things like that. But they were asking like, you know, 9, 10-year-olds, you know, what are you excited for? And kids are creating theories and having these hopes of like what characters are going to do. And I don't know how much more you could be invested into a story if you're not sitting there like hoping things are going to happen in the next movie. That means not only have they have you hooked with that movie, they have you on the hinges and you really want answers. I mean, I think that's the most successful thing you could do. So even if it's true or not, or if theories are existing, it doesn't matter. Like we said, in this movie, all of our theories went out the window. I mean, you could argue Kylo turned, but not really. He kind of really just kind of falls back in a position. I think that's still going to be explored. But the only true theory was that Luke might die, and Luke does die. But I don't think that was really like a big revelation in that either. So,
what did you think of the Yoda scene?
I lost it when I saw Yoda on screen. You know, I was always a Yoda fan. I don't know many Star Wars people who don't love Yoda, and kind of, you know, not seeing, especially how they did him. I appreciated the puppeteering, you know, and keeping it kind of old school. And again, you know,
he also seemed like wacky Yoda.
Yeah.
In 4, 5, 6 versus 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also appreciate that because Luke is, as much as he's, you know, very torn in conflicted in training Rey, he's also kind of goofy and wacky in his own right. And you know, we have that scene where we look at the ship in the water, you know, on this deserted island, and it is almost like reliving when Luke finds Yoda, and it's kind of like reliving it again as we had Force Awakens, almost like New Hope. We have all these flashbacks to Empire and kind of the discovering of the trainer, and he's weird, he's wacky, it doesn't always make sense, but you know, but obviously I think to me the big thing there is having that conversation between Mark Hamill and Yoda, and that's just a huge emotional scene for me. Mark Hamill saying goodbye to Leia at the end of the movie was really emotional for me. Obviously Luke you know, giving himself up to the Force was really heartbreaking. I mean, there were little things in this movie. I think one of the biggest emotional scenes in this entire movie is the bombing scene. And that girl.
That Asian girl, yeah.
Yeah, Rose's sister, who I know they say her name and I can't think of it right now. But yeah, I mean, so good. And so there's just that shot of her with half of her face when her eye opens and then again when it closes.
Powerful.
It's super powerful. And, you know, being a big fan of Looper, we have a little Looper moment in this movie that I really dug too, where it gets kind of like dimensional, where there's like 50 rays in a row, and they're talking and they're snapping.
Oh, would that be considered like a very Rian Johnson moment?
I think, to me, that felt like, you know, more signature than anything. I mean, Looper, there's not really like that, but there are those more like playing with dimensions and time and a little bit like that. And that moment is kind of like that really weird middle ground of reality and not. So I dug that too.
Congratulations to Rian Johnson.
Yeah.
What do you? He's the new trilogy. He's writing the first one.
Yeah, you know, to me, I've been a fan of his work. I know Brick is a big one for people. That one didn't really do much for me, but I was a huge fan of Looper. I'm a huge fan of this. And seeing something like this, while I wonder, you know, because like we have these really developed characters.
And don't forget he has all these limitations with the developed characters.
Yes, but I also think well, so far they haven't done him wrong, right? Like, you know, maybe there were some Johnson choices where they're like, nah, I don't think that's going to work. And luckily they didn't do it, you know? But I will say the one things that I'll note from him were some of the world building. I mean, that last planet they're on, or whatever you will have you, with the salt and like the red shooting up beyond the salt. Like, I just thought that looked so great. What did they call them? The crystal creatures at the end. I think like those are the things that I think he'll want to explore. And I think getting into that kind of stuff and more of just the obscure things that always happen in Passerby, when we're like have like Luke Skywalker on the screen, you know, the things we ignore. We have a lot of like these interesting creatures in this movie that never really get talked about, and I think that obviously with what he's created, I'm excited for that aspect of it. Will he be able to create characters as strong as Rey or Kylo? I don't know, but I mean, at this point, I'm invested. And
well, you definitely have no reason to doubt him.
Exactly, and I'm trying to think, is there anything else that we didn't go over as far as spoilers?
Can you just look at your shirt just to see? Overall, though,
sure.
Yeah, we'll wrap this up.
These guys, I don't know what they're called. I want to say Imperial Knights.
Something, yeah.
Imperial Guards, I think.
Yeah,
Imperial
something
Guards,
like that.
R2-D2, you know.
We didn't see anything with the Knights of Ren.
Yeah.
Nothing. So that still exists.
Yeah. R2-D2, C-3PO, Chewbacca definitely take more of the back. You know, they're very, very much in Force Awakens. They obviously kind of have more of the back. Yeah, those little guys, I don't know their names.
Porgs.
What are they?
Porgs.
Porgs.
P-O-R-G-S.
They were cute, you know.
I loved them.
Yeah, very cute. You'll sell a lot of Porg toys. One thing we always know from Star Wars is they're going to sell something that can make a lot of toys out of.
The only reason I even
if you don't know what a Porg is, that's what it is.
The only reason I even wanted this thing was because the freaking AMC, honestly, big props. These
are great.
Smart.
BB-8.
BB-8's so good, dude.
Oh, that's another big emotional moment. It's really well, it's not subtle, but just a really small moment where Luke sees R2-D2 for the first time, and he shows him that symbol. Like, oh my god, that's so heartbreaking. I mean, this is a movie that really strikes all of those chords. And for me, being someone who came into Star Wars later in my life and becoming a fan, you know, to me, it just hit all the areas that I really wanted it to. I'm trying to think, is there anything else in between that I wanted to talk about? Finn, you know, Finn's going to take over and do some great things. I loved his interactions with Leia. Laura Dern we talked about. Benicio we talked about. Phantasma, her dying was pretty, you know, I hope I'm assuming she's dead. I don't know how you bring her back from that. But, I mean, like, that was kind of a bummer, you know. I mean, I would have liked to seen them go at it one more time, her and Finn. But, yeah. And then you said BB-9. BB-9 will be a thing.
I didn't see anything yet. I didn't see any evil, so I'm expecting some evil.
Yeah, but he looks like it.
Yeah.
He definitely looks like it.
He's black, so he's on the Imperial
he's
side.
He's black and red for sure.
Yeah, he's on the bad side.
He definitely looks like it. Oh, man. And there's just, like, so many little subtle things about this movie that I was digging. Like, there's a few stormtroopers that got some, like, half black, half white going. They're the ones that, like, are about to execute. They look so...
Dude.
Yeah. Do I got them on here? Yeah, I do. They look so sick.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yo.
They were gonna do execution style on
man.
Kelly
and then,
Tran.
then Finn picks that thing up and they go at it. I love that. There were so many just like little moments like that I was just so in. I think there's a lot to speak on. The scene in which Rey and Luke go at it for a second in the rain. That was like a really intense moment. I mean, there's just a lot of great rewarding moments that both incite all these different emotions. I don't want to keep rambling to the point where I'm just not talking about anything important anymore, but I just like this is a movie that I feel like I could do a commentary track on because there's so much stuff. Like if we watched it, I would go over all these things that I was thinking the entire time that I found to be so important. The flying sequences, you know, which I have to admit I was never like the biggest fan of. I was like those were never my like super favorite moments. But after J.J. Abrams did some really cool stuff in Force Awakens, I was like really looking forward to them. And there was some really great stuff, particularly in the beginning and then at the very end with the Millennium Falcon. Again, going through that salt planet, which is all red, looking great. Yeah, so I'm excited to see where we are and where we go from here.
And if we could recommend, watch this the opening weekend. Crazy people, crazy theater.
Yeah, and
that's
see
the
it
best
again.
way.
I would recommend, both of us having seen this movie twice now, I would recommend the second viewing because there are so many little things that I picked up on this time around. It sounds like you did too. You know, from the little the textbooks being saved.
Didn't even catch that?
Yeah, so the Jedi texts are not destroyed. They're in the Millennium Falcon at the very end of the movie. Yeah, so and I'm gonna see it again, just like Force Awakens. We watched that movie, we talked about it, and it's gonna be a movie that we talk about because we're gonna want to know what's going on, what's gonna happen, and I love it. And it was I couldn't have asked for a better Christmas present from the movies this year. So
I want them to move honestly Han Solo to freaking Christmas.
Yeah,
get it off May, move it to Christmas, and then keep Star Wars
on
in
Christmas.
December's.
Yeah, well, you know they're gonna start trying to do the two year.
If that's true, I would love it.
Yeah, so May and December.
They haven't said that yet, though.
Not yet.
But I would love it.
Yeah. Disney's doing big and bad things, man. So,
Murdoch, 52 billion.
Yeah, that's a lot. And, you know, I mean, as happy as I am to see Disney acquire some properties, it's always kind of a bummer to see another one, you know, to everyone to get merged into one again, you know. It slowly becomes more of a monopoly, and the same creative minds are going to be in control of a lot of properties, and you lose those different creative minds, and that's always kind of a bummer. But, you know, obviously Disney has, you know, hasn't done a bad job with what they've done.
In my opinion, they've proven they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they do. But, you know, it's always good to have more players in the game. So, anyway, I loved Star Wars The Last Jedi. I'd give it a perfect score of 4 out of 4 stars. This movie really...
I think I'm at 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Yeah, it's freaking... This is...
And you'll see it again, and maybe it'll be more.
Yeah, you never know.
I'm curious to see where it is on your top 10. It's in my top 10, which our top 10s will probably be coming out in a few weeks. This is it, guys, pretty much. This is the nitty-gritty. I think...
Greatest Showman left for me.
The Greatest Showman, which opens
I gotta watch
week?
Shape of Water. Yes.
Or the following week?
Yeah,
it opens next week. Greatest Showman, Pitch Perfect 2? Pitch Perfect 3?
Part 3.
Part 3.
They all come out
Father
on
Figure.
next
There's
week.
a few, like that come on the 21st, and then we're done, right?
Yeah.
So we have one more week left. And if you've sat at home and watched all our reviews this year and you've yet to join us, come on, give yourself the present of these two right here. Because trust me, there's little things that you could have that are as good as hanging out with me and Shu. And Mr. Wong, of course, who's awesome. Yeah, next week. I mean, guys, it's Star Wars. Go see Star Wars. Go enjoy it. See it. I've yet to see the movie in the Dolby, which is here at AMC Town Square.
Not me. I saw it, and it is amazing.
I will say that my second watch of this movie, the sound wasn't as particularly strong as my first, so I'm really looking forward to seeing it in the Dolby.
Dolby's amazing.
So yeah, I mean, if you get the opportunity to see it in the Dolby, stop wasting your time and do it. Yeah, I'm excited. And before you know it, we'll have awards up. You know, I'm a part of the Las Vegas Film Critics Society. Our awards will be announced Monday, so make sure to tune into that. All that stuff we'll be posting, so just keep up. And then our top 10's right around the corner. The end of the year is almost here. Awards are right around the bend, which also means it's going to be January and February, which means we're going to get into some dump month movies, and I can't wait for some cheese. I think the first week we start off with Insidious 4, The Last Key. So, guys, we have a lot of stuff coming.
ChasingCinema.com for everyone that may not know.
the Film Lovers website. Yeah, there's... Oh,
It's a nice shirt.
thank you.
But you ain't got Darth Vader.
Like for James's comment for Chasings.
Like for James.
Comment for Chasings. Come on, I got the Imperial Knights. Don't hate me because I said that wrong.